Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to some of y'all, and peace out to the rest of you. Hit the share button because the message is more important than the messenger. Look, I'm going to tell you all straight away that there is a particular penchant that Western sisters have. The Western mayonnaise mafiosa has the same problem with her men. She just doesn't tend to do it to us as much. And the Western sister likes to do this to us, but she doesn't like to do this to the Western Wyatt mafioso, or the mayonnaise mafioso. So, in other words, Keisha ain't trying to do this to Brad. Shout out to accountability commentary. And Sapphire ain't trying to do this to Dwight. And on the flip side, Karen, Becky, and Amber ain't trying to do this to Shine. At least not right off the bat. Later on, I guess anything goes. So, underneath, I think it was underneath one of my videos, and a comment under my video, but it may have been underneath the comment I left under someone else's video. I just remember a sister replied to me and said something about, have you ever considered going 9AY? I can't see any other route for someone that comes down so hard on black women. Now, my reply to that was to be somewhat nice and to say, look, I'm a Muslim. Don't ever suggest something like that to me again. Because to us, that's not a joke. You don't do that. You don't suggest that to a Muslim. In the end, as I've stated, I don't even believe that this is a natural phenomena amongst human beings. I know that there are people who do it, but I don't believe that there's a natural phenomena, some genetic coding that makes someone decide on pursuing their own gender and forsaking the other gender in that regard. Additionally, I understand that when it comes down to it, it's not in sisters' best interest for men to be 9AY, and it's not in men's best interest for women to be 9AY. So what this tells you is that when sisters try to suggest this sort of business to men, the reason they try to suggest it is because it's not in our interest. They're going against their own interests to suggest to you what's not in your interest. Something in them knows that as a man, you're not naturally inclined that way. So they suggest it to you because you're not inclined. See, if you really were inclined that way, if I really had an inclination for that, if there was something in men that was just a switch that was just easily flipped for us to become inclined towards each other, then they wouldn't even suggest this. If it was that easy, they wouldn't suggest it. They suggest it because it is against our nature. As a matter of fact, one of the reasons they're going for each other is really just to shun us. That's really all that is. So I wanted you to understand, gentlemen, that emasculation is a part of their war. Their gender war. Remember, we ain't the ones that started it. A lot of you think I'm speaking hyperbolically when I say that they're at war with us, because we don't see why the genders would go to war with each other. And naturally speaking, we would not. But if you can actually convince a gender to hate the other gender, then they'll go to war. And since it's easier to get women to be frustrated with a normal man than it is to get men to be frustrated with a normal woman externally, then yeah, of course, you can get them to go to war with us more easily than you can get us to start a gender war with them. We're not trained for it, and it's not a part of our nature. I don't think it's a part of women's nature either, but they're more easily trained for it. So therefore, they started a war, not us. And so, when they start saying things like this, all it really is they want to emasculate you because of their hatred for you. That's it. Nothing else. They, sisters would say this to me. I may have heard this about twice in high school, twice in college, or What would happen is that some people would do these whispers and then I'd hear about it later on from friends. Yeah, bro, they whispering this, that, and the other. Hell, I found out later some of the rumors even reached my mom. And this is one of the reasons that some parents actually were going to ask my parents if they could pay me to watch the kids. I didn't know about this. The kids just liked me and I liked the kids because they were well behaved. And I was a teenager. But someone told my parents later on, don't do that because they're the type that like to sue. And what they'll do is they'll ask your son, they'll ask Black Mind to go ahead and watch their kids. And then they'll tell their kids to say the Black Mind was inappropriate and dangerous to them. And when they can't get a court conviction, fine. What they really want is that civil lawsuit that's easier to win, and they take that money out you and get a judgment on you. If it hadn't been for the fact that someone that knew that couple told my folks, they would not have known. My folks just thought it sounded strange. It was like a strange compliment. And I'm not the only one to go through this. I must not, because as I said, I tell you what I went through because I'm not that special. Sometimes in my own home environment I was, other times I wasn't. But in the national scheme of things, as far as Black America goes, I wasn't that special. So that means, and I'm telling you this because I know there's someone in the audience that faced something similar. Sisters wanted to emasculate you with some form of false accusation. And when you don't pursue them, they start on that. And you, being SYSBM or Passport Brothers or IBMOR, are not going to pursue Keisha. Shout out again to Accountability Commentary. You're not going to pursue Sophista Ratchet Sapphire, Boom Shika, Bonquisha, Idniset Stereotype. You're going to pursue either a sister that's not stereotypical and not westernized, nor Western, or you're going to pursue someone that's not a sister, maybe Black adjacent, maybe questionable, maybe ambiguous, but you ain't pursuing, you're probably not going to be pursuing a sister. Those are the two types there are. Matter of fact, the Black men that are now looking specifically at Becky's are actually pretty few and far between. Because a lot of us don't trust her either. And that's a smart way to go. I know she ain't trustworthy. She's nicer, but I know she's not generally speaking overall trustworthy. But we're also coming to understand something. Looking at the NBA drafts, and keep in mind, I don't follow that. But I heard that 6 out of the 10, I heard one person say 4 out of 10, someone else said 6 out of the 10 came from Black fathers and non-Black mothers, typically white mothers. Now those fathers came from another generation. But what I'm speaking at, what I'm getting to is that for the most part, bros our age who got more options are beginning to look at either non-Western Black women or non-Black, non-white women. And if you do just that by itself, the ratchet sister that is the worst possible one for you is the one that's going to step up and roll her neck and try to not only shame you, but specifically emasculate you. Understand this. If you're the kind of man that is pursuing them, validating them, calling them Black Empress, Goddess, Mother of the Earth, they still emasculate you. Not just by not picking you, but notice you can say that stuff and not one sister will pick you. What's the reason? Because they're all on accord. You say this, you validate them, none of them are supposed to pick you. Why? They're not supposed to pick you because they understand that you are, in fact, the source of free attention and the emotional tampon. And you are the free resources. You're the food. You're the beta provider. Not even the alpha provider, but the beta provider. Because see, Western women are so broken, they automatically see alphas as men that don't provide and non-providers as alphas. They automatically see providers as betas. They don't say it out loud, but even if it's subconscious, that's how they view you. There's a reason that BGS's son left black women alone a long time ago. There's a reason that my son knows not to mess with the Western woman at all. We're not the only ones again. But understand that they love to emasculate you. That's the important thing to understand. Emasculating you is their hobby. And they do that because even when you're just within the range of what they like, they want to put you out of that range. And one of the ways they do it is by emasculating you verbally and in other ways that they can, because they're not only trying to convince you, they're also trying to convince themselves. What do you think high heels are about? It's not just a fashion thing. Women wear high heels in different parts of the world, but when a Western woman, Wyatt or sister, wears high heels, understand they're the most obsessed with height. The most. Realize that. So when they wear high heels, they're trying to lower or lessen or decrease the pool of men that are eligible for them. They want to take men that are right on the cusp and make them uneligible. They get a kick out of that. Eliminating the men at the edges of the range of what they like and what they notice. Why doesn't matter. I'm not even supposed to understand this about them, but I do. And you need to as well. They are not emasculating any man because they really feel this way right off the bat. They're emasculating many men because they enjoy doing it because they just hate many of us that much. I wish that I had better news, but because this is in fact true, I'm glad I'm telling you this and that you understand it. I'm merely taking something that many of us can understand subconsciously, and I'm consciously understanding it and putting it into words for you. That's all I've done just now. I hope it helps. And I mean that from the bottom of my black heart and the depth of my black mind. Thanks for listening. Again, black heart, black mind, blackout, assalamu alaikum, and black heterosexual non-select male power because they don't like it, and black patriarchy until extinction or judgment day.